Hey everybody, Jamie Pate here. Welcome to this video. I have something I'm super excited to share with you today. And you know, a card maker could be somebody who loves to sew, or a cake maker could be somebody who loves to make tags, or a stamper could be somebody who also loves to photograph. There's no limit to our creativity. I love that so much. The more that I make stuff, the more that reality just continues to grip my heart. So today what I want to share with you, I kind of peeked this on the Facebook page and asked if you'd like a look at my art journal. And so I have a tiny little, I call it tiny little, it's like 3x5. It's not big, but it's completed. I just realized, oh, I have filled all these pages. And so today, let's take a look inside. So as we get ready to take a look inside of this little art journal that I finished, what the point of my introduction was, I share a lot of things on this channel, and mostly my biggest emphasis is storytelling and taking pictures and getting those recorded and writing. But there's a part of me that just absolutely loves art journaling. And a lot of times I'll take the things that I've made in here and I'll just kind of add them to like an inspiration post. Don't really say much about it. This is, again, if you took my memory decks class, I have a chapter in there, a lesson in there called visual inspiration, and this is kind of what this is for me. Art journaling is bringing to life some visual inspiration. Of course, yeah, I know I close it up and I put a little wrap around it that I don't see it again, but you get to go through it. How fun is that? That's so fun. Okay, so this is a little, I think it's about 3x5. It's by Arteza. I should have put the date on it when I started. A lot of these pages are actually dated, something that I highly suggest. And when I started this particular book, I actually didn't even start in the beginning. I started in the middle, and I'm not quite even sure. This goes back to 2022 is when this one was made. Yeah, that might be right about where I started then. So I'm not going to go in the order of how I did it. I'm just going to share these pages and maybe talk a little bit about them. And I'd love your questions for this as well. All right, so as you get in here a little bit closer, you can see that on a project like this, the back page, the background is mostly just rub-ons. And then we have a little piece of a little flag banner, I call them, because when I notched them, I think they're little like flag banners. Some ribbon that has been colored, and I put this rub-on butterfly on some cardstock. And the Love You More is also a rub-on, just put onto some cardstock as well. And so then it can make like a separate embellished piece, a separate layered piece to the project. So I do like doing that pretty often. You're going to see a lot of rub-ons in here. This goes back to 22 as well. Again, the background is rub-on. The thing with art journaling, to me, art journaling and mixed media are the same thing. I don't know if there's any really hard, fast rules to making an art journal page. I've shared different art journal pages actually on my channel when they have ended up in very specific books, if you will. I haven't necessarily shared when I'm just kind of doing like creative practice is what this book is. Have you heard of a daily creative practice journal? While I don't do this daily, that's an awesome idea. But these backgrounds can very often be just ink, just paint, just a stencil, or just rub-on, or a combination of any of those. So I'll just kind of lay that out there right now and point it out as I go. Some old rub-ons here. This is a stamp that I have here in the studio. To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist. That is all. I think that's a great, again, visual inspiration. Sweet Life, No Regrets. A little, I think that's literally a scrap of paper here. It's wrapped around and stapled on. This is an example of a background that is inked stamps. So I've taken stamp and I have inked it and then added water to it, but there's also some stenciling right here as well. I've talked about these chipboard quotes where I've taken and deconstructed them, if you will, so that they're not quite as thick on the page. This is a rub-on here. Some new dies that I had. This is a great thing to do in an art journal as well. When you get new dies in, just go have fun with them. I added on this one as well pops of color. This is a gold glitter. That's super fun if you can see that. I liked how that turned out for sure. Again, with just now an inked background that was laid down. Sometimes you've seen me do this. I wonder if I have an example I can show you really quick. I have done it in here. This is kind of an example of that. Sometimes if I have ink on a larger stamp, I'll just go ahead and put it on a page in here. I'll come back to it some other point. I think I've shared that idea before. That's not necessarily original. So this is an inky background. sort of watercolored. And then different parts of some different brands of rub-ons in the background. I think they're awfully beautiful. There's a little tab here. There's a scrap piece of paper in the back. This particular butterfly, I believe, is from a Tim Holtz die. And I wish I could remember exactly how I did it, but this is often how it happens. Very possibly, I could have had some background paper that I'd inked with some purple. I know. How often do you see me do purple? I inked with some purple, and then I must have also spread some pops of colored gold glitter on it, and then I punched it out. I love doing that. I've not done that a lot. I've shared some of that with you in the past too, where you just make a background. You just add whatever to it. This is just creative, enjoyable. I don't need to think about anything. I don't have to make anything, kind of play. And then die cut it out once it's all dry. You just get the best material for using some other time in some other place. Love that. Huge rub-on here on this background. Some ink splatters. More rub-ons. This is a stamp also. We saw it earlier. I'd stamped it on vellum. This time I stamped it right on to the page. So that's kind of pretty. All right, so now we just have some play. Like literally no visual inspiration in terms of a motivational word or phrase. Just, I think what it looks like to me is what I did is I scraped paint on here with a scraper or a credit card. Then I stenciled some paint on in the white, the larger dots. There looks like to be another stencil on here too. I'm not even quite sure, and somehow I got the black dots. Sorry, this was a walkthrough. This wasn't how I've done every page, so just be warned. And it's funny, I made a note here to myself, so I did this last year in April. Then I made a note to myself, I could have torn it out, but I kept it. I don't think I loved it. And now when I look at it, I do have words on it. Imperfections make life interesting. I didn't even see that earlier. That's perfect. That's exactly what that is. It's funny, as I think about this, because I wrote this, I must have thought, yeah, I really hate this. But I kept it in for whatever reason. And now I'm super glad I kept it in. Because it doesn't necessarily say, oh my goodness, I love this so much. But it's fun. And it makes me have ideas of, I want to kind of try this again, maybe some different colors and maybe create some other backgrounds. And so the backgrounds can then be inspiration for, if you're a card maker, for your card background, if you're a tag maker, for your tag background, if you're a scrapbooker, even for scrapbook backgrounds or embellishments within your scrapbooks. I'm always preaching this. This is never going to change. This is never a waste of time adding to our art journal. That's for sure. Even the joy of just even right now going back through it and saying, oh, I did that. That's pretty cool. Or seeing something like this and saying, I want to try to figure out what I did here and maybe add this to a tag. Who knows? Who knows where it's going to take you? Isn't that the beauty of it? Love that. Very inky background. I haven't let me speak here. I have a feeling I came in here and washed this with probably some leftover ink. It looks like it's looks like a brush was actually used. Came in here with some inking touches. It looks like a sort of a gray, not lost shadow. Pumice stone, this might be. It's probably not really clear. Yeah, you can kind of see it on the screen. Super subtle. Super excites me. I look at that, I'm like, God, that's good. I love that so much. A lot of rub-ons, a part of a postage stamp, 49 to market. This was probably already ripped. And I said, I'll just add it to a page. So I didn't waste it. Again, with a wash in the background, some stamp work, more stamps here, a stamp floral thing sticking up here. This is ephemera here with this striped slide holder and frame. This was from, I believe, some Maggie Holmes paperia, I believe they called that. So it's clear. It came clear like that already. It's all perspective as a stamp, Tim Holtz, and then just bits and pieces of paper here. Does it look familiar? Looks like an embellished cluster. It could very well have started here. Who knows? This one's fun too. So again, kind of a wash of a background. And then this big broke stamp. I love this stamp so much. It's an older one for Stampers Anonymous. I had it probably one of the first Stampers Anonymous products I ever picked up. I'm so glad I did. I love how it just sort of gets really ethereal up here. I couldn't do that if I painted it, but I can do it because I've stamped it. So this is the process. The technique of this is to stamp, add water to it. I probably maybe stamped it somewhere else and then I off stamped it here. And a the world breaks everyone, and afterward many are strong at the broken places. And then this here, I believe this is some ideology, these leaves. I don't love this one, but I'm glad I have it. I was playing with this stamp and some watercolor techniques. This is some ledger from, I believe, Dinah Wakely. Oh, I love those. And it reminds me every time I see them, I need to use those more. This is super messy background. Here for it. And then a little bit of texture here, probably with some white paint. It doesn't feel like texture paint, it feels like paint. It doesn't feel like texture paste is what I want to say. Some stamped. Simplicity in its own form. Simplicity is its own form of artistry. This also is ideology. This is a little postage stamp underneath. More messy background. You can see more of that stamp though, can't you? Kind of the same idea, guys. Nothing really changes here. There's a label. I'm fond of labels. And if I just literally have things laying around, maybe a sentiment I didn't use someplace else. This was fun because I used pops of color through a stencil and it was glitter. Oh my gosh. Do I love that? And I love all this wordage. The rub-ons are fantastic for this because they just blend in so well. You can definitely see them. You can cover them if you want, but you can still go over them with even another rub-on, and it just adds such great depth. I don't love this page, I'll tell you this right now, but I'm glad for it. I'm happy for it. I can see what I did here in the background, so I'm glad it's here. It was just fun. I do love this one, though, because of the butterfly. That's a beautiful butterfly. I think it's Stampers Anonymous also, pretty sure. This is rub-on, again with more pops of color here. And Hope was also from a 49 Market rub-on. Kind of messy. I'm here for it. I really do love this one. I'm pretty sure I off-stamped this. When I mean off-stamp is where I stamped it somewhere else, and then I came here and used this paper as my cleaning up. So here's a great example of that Baroque stamp again. And there's something on here, but I didn't put it on there intentionally. It looks like it might be glitter. But again, perfect example of just off stamping this. And I just kept it like it was because I just think it's so beautiful. So it's the beauty here that really speaks to me. It's not like, oh, I want to do this again. It's just, this is just beauty for beauty's sake. And I love how simple we can come across this with our stamps. Again, just playing with the background. This is a stencil. So probably what I did here is I used a stencil somewhere else. And then I sprayed the stencil because it still had ink on it. And then I turned it over and I stamped it in 2 different times in 2 different colors on this background. I love how that turned out. And I did it again here. That's something that I do all the time. It's something that I'll have another video in the works about do something and then do it again a different way. And it almost looks like it's completely different. I mean, you look at this, you don't think, oh yeah, she did that over on the other page. No one says that. We don't even say that. I look at it and say, that is so cool. That's what I do. I look at it and I just say, that's so cool. Again, guys, with the layers, real similar layers here in this stamp. This is a new stamp that I had picked up. A lot of times my more artsy stamps will find their way in here first. See if there's that again. Look how simple that is. I love this. That says it all for me. Off stamp that there. Didn't feel like it needed anything else. Will I add something else later? I very well could. You can see I did both top and bottom. No, actually I think I closed it because I tried not to do this page. I just wanted to keep it on one side of the page. So I bet I closed that up and then it inked itself. More of the same, but different. I love it. I really love this one. This green speaks to me, and lots of different greens. And then playing with different values of greens. If you have different, I use a lot of oxides. Distress oxide is primarily what you're seeing on here. If I used an ink, I'll use it sometimes like a paint. I'll use it sometimes, obviously, for a stamp ink. But then to find different values that are in the different greens, or pull different greens in, you can practice on these pages with that as well. This was kind of wintry. This was fun with that beautiful snowflake. I'm feeling it because I just feel like there's a lot of rub on there, but it's just right here. And those stitching rub, oh, I know what I did. I stamped on tissue. Then I used collage medium to add the tissue to the page. I was just really playing with that idea. Again, you're going to hear me repeat myself. I was just playing with an idea, and I didn't do that here. That is a little bit of, that is some, I believe that is some tissue here, though, and then I painted over it, and here as well. Those tickets, right? And this, oh, and this ribbon. So just great texturing when you add ribbon in there. Can you see a theme here? A lot of places where there's just a embellished cluster found somewhere on the page. Not all the time, but that's really where it's something I'm kind of comfortable with. And that's good and okay at the same time. It's good in that I don't think, let me see, what I want to say is this really is more in the hobby part of my life. Sundays, I really do like to just, when it kind of gets quiet in the house, just pull out some stamps or some paints and just kind of play. So to repeat same elements, I'm completely fine with that because my brain can just rest. It can just, no, you know how to do this. Just add this, just add this. And I come away and I really like what I made and I really found enjoyment in the making. And it wasn't a matter of I had to go and create something that I've never created before. Does that resonate with you at all? Sometimes we just need to rest and just play and just have fun and see what comes of it. And this is just on repeat. This was, I didn't give a date on this, but I'm pretty sure this is Scorched Timber. So I think this was pretty intentional in that I wanted to see what it looked like on watercolor paper. And that's the paper that I don't think I explained that in the beginning. This paper, this little booklet is a watercolor paper booklet. Lots of stamping in the background, which was super fun. If you just want to that was a great background. I could do that again on any kind of other surface. That stamp again. I've recently posted this, Courage Above Fear. I'm not even sure where that came from. And that's okay. A couple of polka dots on top of that, Baroque. And then I love this. I've posted this recently as well. Rub on. A green that I would probably like never say, oh, you know what I want to do on my scrapbook page? I want to make a bold green, but I have it here. And it's just absolutely lovely. Super, super simple here. This focus on the good. And these rub-ons here, I'm noticing they're not even perfect. It doesn't even say its whole phrase. So maybe it was a rub-on that maybe got damaged or got left out and was kind of sticking to something else. And then I just added it to here. A little bit of florals in the background. That's pretty cool. Looks like I came in here with a ledger stamp as well. Can you see that? That's pretty fun. That'd be a great way then to actually add journaling. So it's art journal. I call it an art journal because the book is a journal. I didn't necessarily write in this particular art journal, although I have done that with my larger art journals where I've actually used it as a documentary type of journaling. So we're getting to the end here, and there's not quite as much here at the end. I'm not sure. I think I was getting ready to start a page, so I have this textured polka dot here for starting any time. I have a part of a page here. I think I use this page down here for something else. Take the time to do the things you love. I believe that's just I think it's a Heidi Swapp. I'm not recall. Oh, it's Carefree. I know exactly. It came from the Carefree collection. So I added that there. Completely wrinkled this hard up when I was making it. And then just did my little notch tags. I literally drew circles around my circles. I don't know. Are you having fun with that stamp yet? Oh, I have one. Look, I have one page left. Here's another one. Now I added this background in. I didn't actually make this background on the page. This was some large tissue that I had. I was playing to see what it looked like to decoupage it on watercolor paper. Another page. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it was me trying to watercolor with stamps. This is a Heidi Swapp page. Actually, this is a lot of her stamp, and again there's tissue on the background that I have stamped my image and then I added it to the background with collage medium, and that's it. It has a little pocket in the back, which I've never used. That is a look at my art journal. I hope that you gained something by watching this today. I hope you find time in your own life to kind of just let your brain rest by just being creative in a way that doesn't have to be a permanent documentation of anything. But boy, what joy it is to go back and look and see these ideas again. And I'm guessing if it works for me, you too would be inspired by the work that you keep in an art journal as well. See you in the next video.